What's up, guys? So last year there was a thread going around. It was like 10 death metal albums that defined the 90s scene. I ended up not doing that. I'm not really sure why. I just got busy, I guess. But today I'm doing something different, so I'm doing it based off that video. But instead, I'm doing 10 black metal albums that define the 90s scene. I might eventually do the death metal one too, but haven't talked about black metal in a while, so figured mine as well. But I try to keep this diverse. I could have easily just gone one country, but that's pretty boring. So I did, let's see, 3 from Norway, 1 from Brazil, 1 from Austria, I think, 1 from Ukraine, 1 from Finland, 2 from Sweden, and 1 from Greece. So yeah, I didn't just want to do, like, I easily could have just done half Sweden, half Norway, but that seemed pretty boring. So yeah. But first, if you can hear the disgusting blasphemous noise behind me. The Profanatica. Disgusting blasphemies against God. And maybe my favorite record by them, it's either this or Thy Kingdom Come, but yeah. I've mentioned before, it took me a while to finally get into Profanatica, but I've come to appreciate their like super repetitive, just primitive style, so yep. Good records that put out through Hell's Headbangers. It also has a live 1992 concert, which is cool, so yep. Check that out. Alright, so let's start with the Norway stuff. So this is probably the most obvious one on anybody's list. Dark Throne, Transylvanian Hunger. Of the Unholy Trilogy, probably not my favorite. It's definitely Blaze in the Northern Sky, but Panzerfaust is arguably my favorite record by them in general, but this one I would definitely say is the most important. I mean, how many bands nowadays do you see using this exact simple artwork of a guy standing there with a capital album in like black and white corpse paint with the shitty logo? I mean, you see 1,000 bands nowadays try to do this style, and none of them I'm even close to doing this. But yeah, definitely the most repetitive of the Unholy Trilogy. That's probably why some people don't like it as much. It's definitely like they play like 2 or 3 riffs per song. That's the entire song, but there's also great tracks on here. My favorite's probably Scalet Ivisite Soul or Salet ad Daphne, which I believe translates to a castle in the distance, but I don't remember offhand, but I think that's what I heard someone say, so yeah. Anyway, there's the front, but you've all seen it a bajillion times. The back, true Norwegian black metal, indeed. So this came out in 1994, obviously, which is arguably one of the best use of black metal ever. Then my favorite year is 1995, which I will be doing a video on that eventually. So if I had to rank, this is definitely probably the #1 most important record I'm going to mention today, but I didn't rank any of the stuff. I just pulled it out in random order, but yep. Dark Throne, Transylvanian Hunger. If you want to basically tell someone what the 90s scene was about, this is definitely the one I would say to give them, but anyway. There you go, Transylvanian Hunger. Sticking with Norway. Enslaved Frost. 1994, I think, again. 94, 95. So not my favorite. Blood Hymn is my favorite. Obviously, I've mentioned that a bunch, but this one I would still say is the most important record. Well, this is Eld, because you can hear a lot of the more like atmospheric or Viking metal bands that would come after this. After this were definitely influenced by this, like bands like Wolves on the Throne Room and stuff. They weren't listening to like Dark Throne. They grew up listening to this record and Eld, and a little bit of Bosom too, but I didn't pull any Bosom. So yeah, very iconic. I mean, another album cover you've seen a lot of Cascadian bands rip off to the 10th degree, and most of them are pretty boring. But I'll leave it to the masters. So there's the back of that one. Goofy pictures, of course, because why not? Gatefold. Favorite on this one is probably the title track or Jontum Blood, which I'm sure I butchered, but oh well. And this one's on a nice blue with gray. So man, if you're into a lot of the like atmospheric stuff and you wonder where the bands got their sound, this is the Alpha Omega like proto from that scene. So it was Bergtoft from Ulver, but I didn't pull that because I didn't want this to be super Norwegian heavy, but yep. There you go. Another one of the most important ones, along with Transylvanian hunger. There you go. Enslaved Frost. Alright, last one from Norway. I had to do this because this is definitely, I would say, the most infamous, though it's not the most important. It's probably the most famous, though. So this is obviously Mayhem, De Mysterious Stumps of Tennis. I mentioned before my favorite Mayhem record is actually Chimera, but there's no way I couldn't not show this. There are some great songs on this, though, like, besides the two obvious, Funeral Frog and Freezing Moon. My favorite song is probably Buried by Time and Dust or Life Eternal. Yep. See in the back, tribute to Mayhem, or tribute to Euronymous, I mean. Very cool. So obviously there was a bunch of controversy around this band, because like Vug killing people, the church burnings, dead suicide, blah blah blah. But I'm sure you all know that anyway. It says to say Anti-Mosh 06, which I believe this was still on Death Like Silence originally, but don't quote me on that. But yeah. Killer record, even if you're not into black metal, this is probably one you at least know the name in the album because of all the infamous crazy drama that was surrounding this record. But yep, there you go. Mayhem, De Mysterious Stumps of Tennis, 1994. I didn't plan that, but all three Norwegian albums I picked were from 1994, so I guess that's what happens. Alright, let's go to Brazil. Only one from South America today. Mr. Fire Wicca. Goetia is probably my favorite record by them, but it's hard to pick from their first three because those are all killer, but yeah. Another record where you hear 1,000 bands trying to do this style, like super, like, caveman, kind of like mid-pace, evil, just, like, kind of death metal-y, but not, like, fast, it's more like just simple, straight to the point, evil, black and death metal, I guess, so yeah. This came out in, I think, 92, I believe. 92, 93, something like that, but yeah. Anyway, this is definitely like the most raw, so if you want to get into them and you're not very like familiar with the discography, I probably suggest Goetia, which is Goetia, I mean, which is that one. That's probably my favorite, but this one is probably the more important one as far as bands copying this style. So anyway, there's the front. Love that painting. There you go. I mean, even look in the band photos. Another picture you've seen copied 1,000 times. And it's put on through NWN, which is like definitely the proprietor of bands copying Mr. Fire. A lot of them were signed to NWN, so pretty fitting. Cool poster, old show. So we got Mr. Fire. Some bands I don't recognize, but yeah, very sweet. So man, if you like the simple, super simplistic, evil as fuck black metal, you don't know Mr. Fire, their first three records are essential, but this one is probably the most important, so check it out. Mr. Fire Wicca. So these guys are from Austria, I think. I always screw up what country they're from, so I'm sure somebody will correct me if I screw that up. Abigail, Knock Diamond from the Twilight Kingdom. So since I didn't mention Emperor, I gotta go with somebody that's filling in that more, like, grandiose kind of symphonic route, but they did, like, the whole symphonic thing correctly, because a lot of bands in the 90s went too over the top with it, and kind of ruined it, and, like, made it super keyboard heavy and all the guitars were out the window. This is definitely one of the examples of that style done right. Though the most Emperor sounding one is probably Supremo Mortal Earth. This is basically like Anthems to the Welcome at Dust Worship. But this one's more in the vein of like, wow. And Night Side Eclipse, this is definitely in the vein of like Night Side Eclipse opposed to Anthem, so it's like less crazy in your face with the like super intense keyboard layering, but yeah. Definitely one of my favorites in general. Probably my favorite black metal album that's not from Norway or Sweden. It's either this or Samael's Blood Ritual. I had to choose between the two of them. It's probably this, but hard to say, but yeah. Killer record. Most of the albums are good, even though they're like kind of more like out there experimental 2000 stuff, but their 90s stuff is definitely the best era though, so yep. Check it out again. If you like stuff like Emperor and you don't know early Abigor, you're missing out. Check it out. Abigor, Knock Diamonds from the Twilight Kingdom. Let's go to the Ukraine, which I'm not a huge fan of that country for black metal, but this record there's no denying, even though it's just a demo, how killer it is. Nocturnal Mortem, Lua Poetry. Man, for a demo, this is so damn impressive. 1996, I believe. Twilight Fall was 95, which I probably prefer Twilight Fall to this demo, but both are stellar though. Super folky and awesome, like acoustic work mixed with like cool, like faster folky moments, or faster like typical black metal moments, and some cool like acoustic like guitar passages, some cool like synth work. Yeah, they definitely do not sound like anybody else. You can hear bands trying to copy them, but they're another band where the master definitely did it the best. So yep. But I'm sure if you're into the Ukrainian scene, these guys and Juke are probably the two biggest names. Though I like these guys more than Juke, even though I have most of the Juke stuff. But yeah, killer record. Definitely one of the best artworks too. I mean, look at that painting, or the kind of a painting, but yeah. They changed the logo, like there's different versions of the logo for some reason, but oh well, I'm not complaining, so yep. Check it out. Don't worry, it doesn't sound like a demo, it actually sounds pretty good, so yep. There you go. If you like kind of the more folky stuff, check it out. Nocturnal Mortem, Lunar Poetry. This is put out through Organia Music, 2022. Not familiar with that label, but whatever. Came out originally in 1996. The first album was 97. Let's go to Finland for some more evil stuff in the vein of Mystifier. Another band that gets ripped off a bajillion times. This is Beherit, Drawing Down the Moon. I'm not a huge fan of Beherit. For me, it's this and the Oath of Black Blood, and then after that, no bueno. I know people love Ingram. I think that's pretty boring, but this and the EP are definitely where it's at for them. But yeah. Definitely, I would say it's even more like simplistic than Mystifier. There's like some faster parts because of the production. It's kind. If you're new to black metal, definitely not one to start with. It's super like raw and like caustic sounding, but there are some great songs in here though. My favorite's probably The Gates of Nana, Down There, or Nocturnal Evil. But yeah, awesome record. There's always a debate if this is the debut or the second record, because people always say like the Oath of Black Blood is either like a first full length or a compilation, because apparently they got money to like record the record, but they blew a bunch of the money, so they kind of use like leftover songs. So it's like debatably the Oath of Black Blood is actually not a full length, but oh well. So after this, they put out some weird like experimental electronic records, which I'm not really into that style, and their comeback black metal album was not that great, but yeah, this is definitely the best though. So again, if you like stuff like Mystified, super simplistic and evil shit, check it out. Beherit, Drawing Down the Moon. Just listen to the song The Gates of Nana. Those vocals are insanely awesome. Alright, so let's go to 2 in a row from Sweden. So this isn't one of my favorite records by this band, but it's definitely, I would say, the most like notorious, so I had to show it. Marduk, Panzer Division Marduk. I mean, Christ-ripping black metal is basically the most appropriate song title ever for this record. My favorite's probably the title track, Baptized by Fire, or Fist Fucking God's Planet, but Christ-ripping black metal is definitely, I would say, probably the most notorious song for obvious reasons. So yeah, see what it says. This is Panzer Division Marduk, the black metal war machine. That's pretty much true, because after this, they like this record almost basically sung about war the entire time, which they did earlier on, but this is where they definitely went forward. Like all the earlier stuff, they had faster moments and like they slowed down sometimes. This one, yeah, there's no slowing down. It's basically pedal to the metal, straight to the dome, 1,000 beats per minute the entire time. This record's only a half hour though, so it's like, if it was longer, you would probably get bored, but considering it's pretty short, it's easy not to get too bored by it. And there's only 8 songs on this record, so it's also a good thing, but yep. Marduk, Panther Division Marduk, 1999. This came out. I almost pulled the self-titled In Battle album, but that's more of like a kind of second-rate obscure one. But that seemed kind of dumb to pull that instead of this, considering I would say this is definitely by far the most popular like blasting black metal album. That's not by Doug Funeral, but yep. Anyway, there you go. Panther Division Marduk. Like I said, not one of my favorites. My favorite of the black metal stuff is probably Heaven Shall Burn. But my favorite in general is honestly the debut Dark Endless, but it's more of a death metal album. But anyway, so there you go. Marduk, Panther Division Marduk. Let's go to Sweden. Again, Lord Belial, Enter the Moonlight Gate. I didn't want to show Sacramento with dissection for the 50th time, so I had to mention at least one in the more melodic vein. Though my favorite by them was probably Unholy Crusade, but this is definitely another one of the more popular albums. This is probably their most popular, though Unholy Crusade is my favorite, but yeah. Again, sort of, if I had to compare it to something, maybe like the Somberlane Dissection mixed with the First Emperor album, so like the Somberlane mixed with In the Night Side Eclipse. There are some pretty cool acoustic tracks on here too, which breaks it up. It's not just super fast the entire time, but there's a couple cool acoustic tracks like that were on the Somberlane. But yep, again, very iconic cover art though. Yep, I love the logo too, like the demon wings and the tail, very sweet. Logo issue. So this came out in I think 97, because I believe Kiss the Goat was 95, but don't quote me on that. But yeah, again, very great. One of the best from the more melodic side of the spectrum. So check it out. If you're not familiar, definitely I would say the best place to start with, but their first 3 or 4 albums are awesome. But yeah, check it out. Lord Belial, Enter the Moonlight Gate. Alright, last one, then we're done. Let's go to Greece, the only album from Greece today. Running Christ, Mighty Contract. So when people talk about like tiers of black metal bands, I feel like these guys are the only band from Greece that actually mentions like an A-tier band, because for some reason a lot of the bands from Greece is kind of like get pushed to the side, because it seems to be like the Norwegian and Swedish bands were a lot more popular. I'm not really sure why. Maybe because a lot of the bands from Greece didn't really have any like controversy, like church buildings or murderings, so they didn't get like the notoriety that bands like Mayhem or Bosom did. But although Immortal didn't do that stuff either, and they got more popular than these guys, so I'm not sure what the deal was. But I don't know. Maybe because it was a little bit later, but at the same time, you had other bands doing their debuts in '93 or '94. This came out in '93, so not sure what the deal was. But oh well. Is this my favorite by them? No. Honestly, my favorite record by them is A Dead Poem, which is definitely an odd choice, but I wasn't going to mention that because that's definitely a lot more different album than this one. I would say this is definitely probably the most important album from the whole Greek scene, debatably, or the first Verathon, but I still see this one mentioned a lot more as like the most important album from the Greek scene, because yep. I'm not sure why it took me a while to get into the Greek stuff, but I've been getting more into it lately. But anyway, there's the front, then the back. My only problem with the Greek scene is it's hard to choose a favorite band, because honestly, a lot of the bands either only did a couple albums, or they had a period where they changed styles and became kind of not very good, so you can't really say, oh, this band's my favorite, but I only like their first 3 albums. They've done like 6, so that would be kind of weird. But yeah, their first like 7 or 8 are all great, and after that, hit or miss. But definitely the first like 6 or 7 are all fantastic. But yeah, so there you go. Rodney Christ, Mighty Contract. Like I said, A Dead Poem was my favorite, but that's more like the almost like kind of gothic black metal sort of. So I didn't feel like mentioning that, because this is definitely their most straightforward record, along with Non-Serbian. But yep, check it out. Mighty Contract. Alrighty. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Be cool to see somebody do a response video to this. I know there were a lot of responses for the death metal one, so hopefully we can get a thread going with the black metal one. That would be pretty sweet to see, or at least let me know which 10 you would do in the list. Or at least let me know, like, list which 10 you would pick if you had to pick 10 that define the 90s. So thanks for watching. I may do one for death metal eventually, but I felt like that was a trend that already far left the station, so maybe it's too late, but who knows, I may do it eventually. So thanks for watching. I have like a special type of like collection video of a specific group I'm gonna do for my next video, which if you know my taste, I think you know what I'm talking about, but if you don't, stay tuned for next time. So thanks for watching, take care, goodbye.